And welcome everyone to our Bleacher Report, NCAA Digital, March Madness Men's Basketball, AP Top 25 Breakdown. I'm Andy Katz, and look at this. I had no idea what was going to happen. Zero. And as I see on my screen, just with you guys at the same time, couple weeks in a row, what I throw out there happens with the poll. And I know I do this Sunday, but then it's posted Monday and voters have to vote Sunday, but we are all in sync. Purdue number 1 still, Houston 2. What about that? Wow. Okay, let's break it down and the rationale, which I totally agree with here. Love this. We are all in sync. Purdue's loss on Saturday was at Indiana. Rivalry game. Trace Jackson Davis, he's 1B to Zach Edey in terms of National Player of the Year. Packed house. Indiana's ranked. Okay? It's not a bad loss. And Purdue was down double digits, came storming all the way back to within one possession of tying the basketball game in the final minute. So you can't look at that and say, wait a minute, they deserve to get knocked off the number 1 spot. Now, had Tennessee beaten Florida, they beat Auburn, there might have been this argument, because Tennessee was 2, to flip them. I still might have hedged based on competition, but that didn't happen. Tennessee lost to Florida. So the only other candidate was Houston. And I don't want this to be interpreted as I am knocking Houston, because Kelvin is doing a phenomenal job, Kelvin Sampson. He is right up there for National Coach of the Year with Matt Painter and Nate Oates, as you see the 1, 2, 3. And Rick Barnes from Tennessee. Throw him in there. But a couple weeks ago, as you know, Houston lost to Temple. They have won 3 road games since then. UCF beat Cincinnati at home, and then Houston won at Wichita, and then won at Temple on Sunday. Look, you can only deal with what's in front of you. And next year, obviously, the schedule is going to be much harder for Houston in the Big 12. And they took care of business on the road. But I don't think you can compare the two right now and say Houston is definitely better than Purdue, or what Houston did this past week was better than Purdue. Purdue handily beat Michigan State at home and took care of business. And then lost Indiana. So Purdue's 2 losses, home Rutgers, second place team in the Big Ten. At Indiana, rivalry game, again, team that's climbing and was ranked at the time. Houston's 2 losses, home Alabama, number 3 team in the country, home Temple, not ranked. So I am very pleased to see that we were all in sync. Love it. All right, let's throw the entire poll out there. Get you the full meat of the poll here. We got Arizona, Texas, Tennessee, UCLA, Kansas, Marquette. I like that at 10. Iowa State, K-State, got all that bunch of Big 12 there. Baylor, St. Mary's, and Gonzaga. You got to put them ahead. Xavier atop the Big East with Marquette, so they're tied 10 and 13. I like that. 18 Indiana. We can keep climbing up here. TCU, another Big 12. So Indiana moves up 3 spots after beating Purdue. No problem with that as we continue to move up the poll in the back part of the top 25. And we'll see. This is all in real time. I don't know where 19 to 25 is. Miami, I like that. Providence. Okay, UConn. I know people think I'm a UConn hater. All right. Again, I don't understand it. They shouldn't be ranked. They're not playing ranked basketball right now. They barely beat Georgetown. They beat up on teams at the bottom part of the Big East. Let's see what happens when they go back up to the top, because they've really got swept by Xavier. I'm sorry. It's just, I have to be honest here. I don't get it. I like the NC State. I have them. I like the Rutgers, obviously, and San Diego State, which lost to Nevada. I'm okay with that, though, in the top 25. And Creighton is really rising. They're back to where we thought they would be. So heavy Big East, heavy Big 12, smattering of the Big 10, full here. Heavy Big 12 as it should be, a couple of big Pac-12, a smattering of ACC where you got Miami and NC State. It's interesting with the ACC right now because Clemson is technically still atop the ACC, yet they lost to Miami at home and at BC. So they're not ranked for a good reason. I pulled them out of my Power 36. By the way, I have to completely admit here a total mea culpa. And, this has happened to me once this season. So unfortunately, it's happened once or twice. I need to do a better job. Sometimes I get a little rushed. I should have had Iowa in my Power 36. I moved teams around and I didn't put them back in, and that's my mistake. So Iowa fans, before you come all over me, I'm admitting right here, live, BR, that was an omission by me. I had them in, I moved things around, and I just forgot to put them back in, and that's on me. Now, they were in the back part, in the 26 to 36, but that doesn't matter. So that's on me. That won't happen again. And I know people will be like, oh, my God, you do a lot of stuff with Big Ten Network. How can you forget Iowa? Well, you know what? It's just when I'm moving teams around and moving up and down. And last night, I really waited, obviously, to make sure that Houston was where they should be after I watched them beat Temple and pulled away from Temple. Marcus Sasser was great. So I just love the fact that, we're in agreement here at the top. Heavy Big 12. I love that. Oklahoma State needs to be somewhere close to this too, because they've had a really great run of late, winning 3 in a row. So good job by Oklahoma State. And the entire Big 12 is right now, we could have West Virginia's on the bubble. So really, of the 10, I won't be shocked if 8 get in. Leaving out Texas Tech and Oklahoma at this point. So we'll see. All right, so we're going to get to some questions momentarily. Some results there. Virginia Tech's an interesting team. Their record is not good in the ACC, but think of what they've done, where they've beaten Duke and they've beaten Virginia lately. They are rising up, and there's enough runway still for them to make a run here. There's the loss for Clemson at BC. KU and K-State split. By the way, Azuolas Tubelis was my National Player of the Week. You just saw that Indiana-Maryland result pop up there. And I think Maryland should be in the top 25. It's interesting because Trace Jackson-Davis had a great game on Saturday. Didn't outscore Zach Edey, but he had a great game. But my own rule of thumb is you can't be Team of the Week or Player of the Week if you lose during the week. And people forget, as well as Indiana played Saturday, they lost to Maryland in the same week. And Maryland's really good. It was on the road, but still, you have to take that in consideration. So Azuolas Tubelis was Player of the Week. 40 points against Oregon. I think he had 19, if I remember, against Oregon State. So big wins for the Wildcats. They're back up in the top 5, as you see at 4. St. Mary's was my National Team of the Week, beating Gonzaga at home. They are now 10-0 in the WCC with a 2-game lead because of that loss that Gonzaga had to LMU. Now, St. Mary's still has to go to Gonzaga at the end of the season, but, they may not lose before that, so they may win the league by 1 game. There you see Florida Atlantic losing to UAB. That's why the Owls dropped out. Tough road game with the Blazers. There's the loss Tennessee had to Florida. Close game for Providence to Xavier. Ugly game, Auburn, Tennessee. How about Auburn has had 2 brutal games in the low 40s. They beat Northwestern and Cancun by 1 in the low 40s. And here they lose to Tennessee by 3 in the low 40s. Tennessee's also played a couple ugly games. That game, and then they played Maryland and Brooklyn. Brutal shooting game in that one. So a lot of games on, and then you got the, of course, Duke UNC. Good win for the Blue Devils. They're still playing without Derek Whitehead. He's been out. He's not playing again tonight against Miami. Oklahoma State, as I mentioned, good win over TCU. They're on the rise in the Big 12. Iowa State gets the split with Kansas. And then you see the St. Mary's result against Gonzaga. And then K-State losing to Texas. No question about it. Texas, Rodney Terry. Let's say it right here. Chris Del Conte. Here's my pitch on this platform. Rodney Terry has kept Texas in the top 10. Rodney Terry has kept Texas atop the Big 12. He's proven he can handle this job. I'm on this bandwagon. I think he should get the head coaching job. Don't play the game. Don't play the game where you're going to romance. Oh, does Calipari want to come? He's not coming. Okay. I think Rodney Terry deserves it. You're a football school anyway. So why not hire a guy? You got to worry about the basketball program who's getting it done. Saying it here, hire Rodney Terry. Chris Del Conte, do it. All right. Let's get to some questions here. Brady, Tennessee should be above Texas. Brady, Texas, the Big 12 is better than the SEC. And Texas is atop it, winning at K-State. Arizona should be top 3. Why is UCLA so low? Okay, you can connip over that, or you can argue over that. Where is NC State? I agree. Where are the Terps? I agree. Gonzaga ranked too high. I agree with that. They shouldn't be in the top 25 right now. Creighton ranked and Duke is not. Well, Duke, outside of their Carolina win, remember they lost to Virginia Tech just a week ago. So Duke still needs to have some work here. I had them, ranked at the back end, I think 25, but I could see not. I'll tell you, I also had Kentucky ranked. Indiana should be higher. I agree. I had them in the top 10. Who finishes second in the Big 10? Well, I'll tell you, Channing, when it's all said and done, I feel like it's going to be more Indiana than Rutgers. We'll see. I'll be there tomorrow night. Big game. We'll see if Rutgers can get the sweep or if Indiana keeps the momentum going. A&M could make some noise in the SEC tournament. Possibly. Auburn is a top 25, man. Come on. No, they are not. Sorry, you lose in the low 40s to Tennessee. They're not. No. Will Purdue win the national title this year? I think they got a legitimate shot. Columbus, Louisville, they're on path to do so. Do I think Zach Edey is the clear favorite for National Player of the Year? Yes, I do. I think number 2 right now actually is Trace Jackson Davis. So, pretty interesting chase right now in the Big Ten and National. How deep can St. Mary's go? Well, here's what's interesting. Aiden Mahaney is a freshman point guard playing like a senior in that difficult system. And if they continue to defend and keep games in the 50s, St. Mary's could be a Sweet 16 team. And then after that, you never know. Then it's wide open. Let's get to a couple here. Thought LSU was going to be better this year. So did I. Early in the year, I was high on Matt Mann and KJ Williams. And what's happened? Oh, my God. Come on, C. Weiser. Arizona whooped Creighton. Yeah. In the Maui Invitational title game on November 26th or something. Every game counts, but you can't go back and say, well, because of that one result, this team needs to be ranked higher than that team on February 6th. No. These are snapshots. Rankings are how are you playing right now? Right now. And that's why UConn shouldn't be ranked. I mean, they barely beat Georgetown. They're in 6th place in the Big East. Yes, March Madness is coming soon. End of this month, regular season ends. For majority of the leagues, powers go just that first few days into March. If Xavier Johnson comes back, Indiana can play to its full potential. Eric, you're a regular questionnaire. We like that. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. He's got to come back healthy. How does that affect the rotation? Because in his absence, Jalen Hood-Schifino has been phenomenal. Trey Galloway was huge against Purdue. So Xavier Johnson is going to have to blend in. He's not getting back the same amount of minutes. Not happening. But he can certainly help. No question. How is Bama not ahead of the team they beat? Well, because a week ago, Alabama lost to Oklahoma by almost like 30? So again, that game, Alabama-Houston, was in December. We are, checks calendar, February. All right? Woo! All right. How deep will Iowa State go? Love their defense. If Gabe Kalsher can make big shots, Caleb Mills, then they can be a second weekend team like they were a year ago. Texas Hawk. About Texas, Kansas, number one. Yeah, I kind of feel like whoever wins the Big 12 needs to be that number one seed in Kansas City. So the way I see it playing out, whoever wins the SEC, number one seed in New York. These are regions. Purdue, number one seed in Louisville. Whoever wins the Big 12, number one seed in Kansas City. And then Houston, number one seed in Vegas. We'll see if I'm right. February 6th. So I got Purdue, Louisville, Houston, Vegas, SEC champ New York, Big 12 champ in Kansas City. ACC won't get a number one seed. Big East won't get a number one seed. Pac-12, the only way they would get a number one is, because like the Washington State and Utah losses hurt Arizona. UCLA, I think they got to beat Arizona. They lost already to them. So UCLA, if they won out, I could see maybe getting one, but Houston would have to fall flat, which I don't see happening. Houston plays Memphis twice and Tulane one more time. And then, of course, they have the conference tournament. So we'll see. The thing with the American, though, remember that conference tournament is the last game. It's right there with the Big Ten on Sunday. So if Houston falters down the stretch, which I don't see, but if they do, it'll be interesting to see if they have multiple number one scenarios, because that game is so late on that selection Sunday. And, for Memphis, which is a bubble team, if they're in that game, what happens to their bubble status, multiple brackets, pending the American final? So we'll see. Thoughts on Marquette? Shaka is going to be up. He should be Big East Coach of the Year. Who's my best team that's not ranked right now? Ryan, Maryland. Maryland won at home, won at Minnesota. They got a game at Michigan State this week. That'll be really telling. So I like that question, and I like that team. Best team in the ACC? Ultimately, I kind of feel like when all things get settled, I wanted to say Carolina, but I can't say that anymore. I think it might be either Miami or Virginia when everything's over, meaning when we look back a month from now. But we'll see. Is Wisconsin's season over? No, but they are now out, and they got to play their way back in. And in the Big Ten, you have plenty of opportunities. I think Kentucky will make the tournament, yes. Brandon Miller, most complete player. Well, he's going to be the top college player drafted. That we know. Arizona's one of the hottest teams right now. Not the hottest. One of the hottest. You can make an argument for Marquette. You can make an argument certainly for St. Mary's. Texas. Randy Bennett, National Coach of the Year. He'll be on the list. I don't think he'll win it, though. Rutgers underrated. I agree. I think Duke if they ever get fully healthy, which they've never been. They certainly could be a second weekend team. I don't think they're a Final Four team. USC in the top 25. Yeah, I could make that argument after they went over UCLA and then they've won the last couple. So I agree with that. All right, let's take one or two more. All right, C. Welsh, take on the Iowa Hawkeyes. Mea culpa. I'm going to bring this back. They should have been in my Power 36. I was moving teams around, and somehow Iowa got left over here. And it's my mistake on me, so blame me. Sorry about that. Illinois, again, they have a high ceiling. I just don't know if they're ever going to reach it. They've got the talent. I'd love to see a little more Dane Danger. We'll see. I wish I could speak on the Green Bay-Milwaukee rivalry tonight. I'm going to go with Milwaukee. Green Bay obviously has had a coaching change, so I will go with the Panthers. Super Mario, can Baylor get a title run with Jonathan Chachua back? Not feeling them with the title run. San Diego State, perfect spot. Creighton could be one of those sleeper teams that struggled, good, struggle, better late, and makes a run from like 6, 7, 8 seed. Could definitely see that. All right, so Ryan, yeah, other than UConn, I would want to see Maryland in there. I agree with that. So a lot of Maryland things. I agree with that. All right, so real quick, let's look up upcoming games. Tonight, Duke at Miami. No Whitehead. Big game for the Canes. Texas at Kansas. Wow, Texas atop the league. Can they get a win in Lawrence after Kansas lost badly at Iowa State? Quick turnaround for the Jayhawks. Marquette at UConn. Tuesday night, monster game for for Marquette to try to win the league. UConn you need a game like that. You need that win. TCU, K-State. TCU needs to bounce back. K-State needs to as well. That's a bounce back game for both teams. Iowa State, West Virginia. West Virginia needs that win. They got to keep climbing. You don't have on that February 7th, the game I will be at, which is Rutgers at Indiana. Rutgers trying to get a sweep of the Hoosiers. We'll see if that happens. Iowa at Purdue. I fully expect Purdue to win that game, but, Iowa's had a nice home stretch. And then on Saturday, we've got KU at OU. I expect KU to win that. West Virginia, Texas. Texas will win. Bama at Auburn. Big win for a big game for Auburn. They got to win that game. Clemson at Carolina. I think Carolina's got to win that game, although Clemson needs some momentum. UConn at Creighton. It's going to be a difficult game for the Huskies. Big win for the Blue Jays if they can get it. And then Duke at Virginia. Another very close game, kind of a toss-up. And then continuing here, we got Baylor, TCU, another toss-up game in the Big 12. Missouri at Tennessee. The Tigers lost this past weekend. Tennessee obviously has been struggling, but still winning. And then Indiana at Michigan. Wow. Huge game for Michigan. Michigan they got a pulse. Get on camera here. Pulse for Michigan. Okay. Won at Northwestern, beat Ohio State. If they can beat Indiana, they're back in the picture. Indiana, interesting week. Home Rutgers, not going to be easy. Already lost to them at Michigan. So it's never easy in this Big Ten. Big Ten and Big 12 feel like every game is an absolute battle in both those leagues. There are no gimmies in either one. I mean, look, Nebraska just beat Penn State that was trying to get on that bubble. Now they're on the wrong side. And Nebraska's missing 2 starters. So, all right. There you go. Appreciate all the engagement. We're doing this every week. And you know where to find me. Bleacher Report, NCAA Digital, March Madness Men's Basketball, at the Andy Katz on Twitter, at the real Andy Katz on IG. Love the engagement. Let's do it again next week. Be safe, everyone. Thanks for watching.